Okay, so let's have a look at perhaps styling the menu filter using some CSS. There's two things to bear in mind. First is that if you're using a theme, you might want to add the CSS to your theme style sheet. Otherwise, you can use the customizer. And for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to use the customizer. So let's open that up here. I'll head to additional CSS and just leave that open. So the second thing is we have some example CSS that you can use. You just have to head back to the settings and click example CSS, and we get a number of different styles that we can just copy into our style sheet, or in our case, the customizer, and modify. Now, before we write any CSS, I'll just quickly touch on what we have here. So first at the top, we have some global CSS styles, and these are just a couple of styles that will be applied to every single Better Food menu module or shortcode output that we generate. So every part has a wrapper that goes around the very edge. So if you want to maybe apply a background color or some padding to every single item on the page, then you can do so with that. Perhaps you won't use it, but the idea with having all of these styles here is that you can just pick and choose what you want. Next is the title, and this is something that is perhaps a bit more useful. If you want to add the same title to every module that's on the page, then you can do so with this class here, but we can also add a bit more specificity so that you don't necessarily affect every single title on the page. A little further down, we have some menu filter CSS styles, and that's what we're interested in. So I'm just going to copy all of the styles here, like so. Head over to the customizer and pop them all in there. And the customizer is going to moan at us a little bit because it doesn't really want to see these descriptions added to them, but we will remove these as we go along. Okay, so I'm just going to put some example styles in just so you can see what the different parts of the filter menu are. So first we have the outer wrap, and as the description says, it's the very outer container of the menu filter. So this contains the module title. In this case, the filter, we didn't set a title, so we don't see that. The diet and allergen filter subtitles, which are these two things here, and then of course the filters themselves. So if we delete those comments there, and I'm just going to, let's add a border. I'll say border, and say dark blue. And I'm going to add some padding as well, like so. Next we have the filter container, and this is the container of a single diet or allergen filter. And this container contains the subtitle and the buttons themselves. So we're looking at this and this separately, and I can demonstrate that by putting a background color on these elements, and just say red for now. You can see there's two of those there. Next we have the subtitle, and I'm just going to say color white so you can see that change there. Next we have the list. Each of these buttons is inside a list item, and it's just horizontally aligned. So you might not use the UL, but perhaps I could demonstrate what it looks like by putting a 5-pixel padding on and setting a background of yellow. I'll just use the important tag there to override some coarse styling. The next item on the list is the list item, and this, as the description says, contains the button itself. So again, you might not use the li itself, you might just style the button, but just for the purposes of this demo, I will add a background of green and a padding of 5 pixels, just so you can see what those LIs are on the page. Next we have the buttons, so let's go ahead and add some styling to those. I'm going to give this, give them a background of white, remove the border radius, let's say border which is transparent for now, border bottom which might be a little thicker, let's say we can make that red, and maybe we want to do something like a text transform is uppercase. Give it a font weight of bold perhaps, the letter spacing. And okay, let's give this a color of red as well, so we can start to see those looking slightly tidier. Of course, we've got a lot of other color which we will remove shortly. So finally, we have the selected button. So this is the color or the style of the button when the user clicks on it. Let's go ahead and style that now. And as I mentioned, I'm just going to remove all of the other styles that we created. They were more just to give you an idea of how this particular part is structured. Now, one thing we have to bear in mind is the hover state. If we hover over, you'll see that some funny things are happening. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the CSS class for the button, copy it, paste it below. And then I'm going to add the hover state to it just like that, and we can go ahead and perhaps just grab those two styles there. Still not going to be perfect, there might be some border issues, but that's because my theme is overriding my styles. So what I can do here is just say border 1 pixel, solid, transparent, and we'll borrow the border bottom style from up here as well. Paste that in, and you can see we now have some buttons which look a little better than they did before. So we can just go ahead and click publish. So, and there we have it. This was just a very basic example to get you off the ground with styling the menu filter using the examples that are provided with Better Food Menu. You might find that your theme already has some good styles for buttons. This particular theme doesn't. They don't look very nice, which is why we've had to go ahead and style them, but yours might look great out of the box. Okay, so that's it for this demo. In some of the other videos, you'll see how we can also use page builders to add this same styling effect without writing CSS. So keep a lookout for those. Bye.